My name's Chad, and I bought a fixer-upper. Time for an update. I have done very little to the outside this summer. I did try to scrub and clean this this siding tile. I think it's some sort of cement and asbestos board. Doesn't really come super clean, so if I keep it on, I suppose I'll be painting it. I have ambitions. Once the weather cools down, we get a hard frost, and the creepy crawlies under the deck are dead and gone for the year, to come under here and put down some pylons, some pier and beam underneath the center of the deck here, because it does sag and it doesn't need to. It just needs a little more support. But my dad just finished visiting me about a week ago, and I wanted to update you on what we were working on. So we had a couple projects. Probably the most visible one is that these large laminated veneer lumber glue-lam beams, I purchased them and we've bought them, and we demoed a system for getting them into place with something called a wall jack or a pump jack. I'll splice in an image of that here in a minute. And we were able to get these up with minimal help. Just us two. I could probably do it even on my own with a small enough beam. One person to help me move longer beams, and I can probably do the shorter ones on my own. We took out this window and we covered it up, sealed it up, and then we put these jack studs underneath this end of that beam. And so this is what I've been talking about for all those videos, something that's going to come across all those floor joists and can raise them up, can carry the weight of them, can raise them up, and then it'll tie into what I'm thinking we can call this one here the cross beam or the cross member, and we can call this the tie beam or the parallel member. And for my focus here, so we've gotten this up and roughly in place. The second floor deflection makes it really hard to get the far end at the right height. And beyond that, I also have to prepare the space under it for a post. I do have the post, but the space underneath, and you probably won't be able to see it, and of course I left my flashlight. The space underneath it was the field stone. Well, I don't know if it's field stone proper, but it's stone and mortar. It's a stone and mortar wall, and a lot of the mortar had decayed, so I spent a couple hours cleaning that out real thoroughly, mixing up some new mortar and putting new mortar in and putting stone back in. So that's curing for the moment. I'm also going to try and cut me a length of 4x6 treated to go underneath the post. And once those are ready, we'll probably be also, let me switch the, putting in a short jack stud on the right hand side of the beam to keep it from twisting and falling down, and then underneath it properly will be that red post, and then on the other side probably another stud up to that up to that stringer piece, the one that goes where's my finger, the one that is going this way across underneath all the floor joists. So there's a little work on that side to be done. On the opposite side, we're in better shape. I do have a sill plate under the floor, so we've made space for the post to sit on it, but I have to go downstairs and place another length of 4x6 underneath this so that I get solid weight transfer down into the foundation, and I'm not just crushing on that that little 2x6 2x4 down there. Our other very big project was these stairs. Ta-da! So this was a closet originally in the house. I'm very confident it was a stairwell, and then I'm fairly also confident that when they converted it to the multifamily, that they turned that into two closets, one upstairs and one downstairs. And I wanted it back because this would allow you to go straight from the kitchen where I'm standing now downstairs to the basement. Could access, I'm hoping to make this room into a home gym, but you could do, you know, if you were the owner, you could do just about anything you wanted with it. Please forgive my mess. The house is an absolute state. And if you look too close at the stairs, you'll see they're not perfect, and you'll see I used some fiber boards. I don't know if you call it MDF or what, but I definitely used some engineered wood product on it because I did not want to spend a fortune on the basement stairs, and maybe someday I will decide to get fancy with it and come and clean them all up, make them all shiny, pretty, beautiful wood. But until that day happens, they are simply functional. Now, you'll also notice, if you were sharp-eyed, that I have this post in the corner, and that's probably not going to be there permanently, right? It's on a jack, and you would be correct. And I had originally thought that this corner, I'm going to see if I can point to it, this joint here had fallen, sank down because it wasn't designed or supported properly, and then that's why my stairs were sagging. And I'm sure that has something to do with it, but in fact, it's actually these floor joists here, here, and here, these three, possibly four, that, and the wall underneath them that does not have a level top, that I think it was built wrong. And I know that these three joists on the side here are sagging down. So I have a dilemma. Do I correct that so that my stairs to upstairs are level and even? Or do I leave it be? Because I can leave it be and it'd be just fine. It's just gonna be a little crooked. It does drive me a little nuts to look at crooked stairs, but at the end of the day, does it really matter all that much? Good question. This was where we did our trial and error beam and post system. This is not going to stay in here permanently, or at least I don't plan to do it. This is here so we can place a jack directly above this assembly upstairs and jack the second floor into level on that other big beam, which is immediately and directly above this assembly. So the weight transfer does not overly stress the timbers. It goes directly into the foundation. And then once it's in place, then I can transfer that weight onto the tie beam and then onto the post system that comes down to the basement. I am currently decide which one to do next, and currently looking for help to get it done. So the next one I thought was going to be, push the camera, yeah, forgive the basement, it is a state. I thought the next one was going to be directly opposite it, so it'd be another, that's a 12-foot, well, it's really 14, but it'd be a 14-foot one going directly across here in the middle of this floor, so I could go upstairs and do the same system, push a jack off of it. But honestly, the bigger issues are here, and I know I've talked about this before, so bear with me. That header, that old header, is not level. I need to level it. I kind of think I want to level that next and first before I go trying to push the ceiling of the first floor up any higher. So that's probably going to be my next project. I guess the question is, am I okay with what I have up here for structural stuff? The challenge I have, the challenge I see, yeah, you'll notice that's buggy. You know, I remember that a long time ago. I did put that double joist in, that's new. And then I put this in, that's new. It's not perfect, but it's there. The challenge I see is maybe that one, terrible cameraman and narrator at the same time. This beam in the center has its issues, and perhaps yeah, this cross member here is not doing any work, but that one down at the end is. So maybe I need to come back alongside this, bring this in all the way, make the whole length and put it in before I try to put anything up underneath this. And then the other question I have is, it's about time for me to think about where I'm going to put my hot water heater and updating my plumbing in the house, especially to the living unit, especially before snow flies again, before we get cold here again. So I'm currently thinking to put the water heater in the old shower pan area back here, maybe do a little bit of leveling or build a platform or something, but put the water heater back here. It's relatively close to the gas supply. It's certainly close to the power supply for the building, the service entrance for the power, and it would be central to the majority of the hot water taps I'd need in the house. Nothing would be perfect, but I think that's probably the best I'm gonna get. So if I do that, then I need to buy a bunch of PEX and rip this original cold water line out, which actually makes me very happy. But it comes all the way back here, all the way back here, until it comes off of the water main entrance to the house, which is here. And my dad and I were talking, and it might be a good time to try to replace that really, really old valve, because it doesn't probably have a lot of life left in it. So you can see how the projects kind of leapfrog each other. It's hard to get a handle on what to do first. Yeah, it takes me a while to decide what project to work on at any given time, but I do need and want to get those floors fixed, and we have a system that works, and I have the materials on site. So that's going to be my focus, at least for now. Oh, and while we're talking about where I'm going to put the water heater, and is it going to be next to the breaker, here, right next to the entryway to the basement. I don't like it here. I want to take that wall out. I want to get that space back. And I'm thinking of moving the breaker, the power panel to this wall. I need to build an assembly for it, and then probably get an electrician to help me out. I think I could do it on my own, but it is relatively risky. But if I'm gonna have the electrician come out and do that, why not also have him turn 4 meters, or 5, I guess, into 1 meter, because the house is going to need 1 meter. It's not going to be multifamily anymore. So I've got a few leads on some electricians, but I haven't really talked to anyone about it yet. And yeah, I took a few days off work when my dad was here. It was really productive, and I'm thinking that's probably the way to go. Is just take time off work, because, you know, nights and weekends are fine for little things, but how many professional tradesmen and businesses are going to be open on nights and weekends when I'm not at my job? So probably going to be my strategy over the next several months. I still have to sort out financing. Haven't sat down with the bank yet, but need to do that. Would love to get just a big fat wad of cash to throw at this place. Could really make a lot of progress, I think, really quickly if we did. And yeah, just a whole host of things. Close this door back up, including maybe get a door put in back here that has more than one hinge attached. And if I haven't gone over it, I can't remember what I put in the last video. I completely took out the cladding and any insulation that was back here. There wasn't much. It is definitely an old porch, probably an old sleeping porch. If you look real close, you should be able to see daylight through that crack. Let's see if I can see it over here. Yeah, you can see daylight through that crack. I want to seal that up. I want to take this nailing rail off. I want to come back through with house wrap and insulation like I talked about for the other portions of the building. I need to frame in some walls back here, but before I frame in the walls, the chimney needs to come out. Chimney's not staying, and it's an eyesore, and it's going to fall and collapse through some days to come out. And this box also needs to move. Now it's a sub panel of the main panel, so it should be a little bit easier, but I think it's wired wrong. And I need the wall, it's the destination wall, to be in place before I move it. So that is kind of the update. Oh, and the other thing is, oh, you can't see probably anything. With the beams, the size I bought them, and I did try to size them correctly. So I did the load calculations myself, and I said, okay, what size beam is going to hold up over a 16-foot span, and that was the size I came up with. That's 11 7/8, or nearly 12 inches. By the time I take 12 inches under the floor joist up there, and you can see what it looks like. Actually, I'm going to take you over there. You can see what it looks like over here. I was originally going to build a 2x6 or a 2x8 mechanically reinforced header and stick it between that and the window. Pretty sure this window's at the same height as the other windows, and if it's different, it's not different by much. So you can see that I really do not have the clearance I would need. I have maybe 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches. I thought I was going to have 6.5 or 7.5 inches, which means that I would either have to completely remove this 3-window assembly, or the center window of the assembly, and board it over like the other one, which is not going to work. That's removing too much character from the house. So I am probably going to be looking for someone who can fabricate me a metal header that I can place over this and actually span the whole window and put a proper header in over the whole window. But I need to do a lot of homework on finding that person and getting them specifics and dimensions, and then paying for it. You know, that old chestnut. Anyway, there's been some progress. There's still a lot more work to do, and I continue to be challenged daily by my full-time employment. There continue to be promises that it's going to get easier. I continue to wait on them. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I don't know if there's anything in particular you want to see in the house, maybe leave a comment. Oh, that actually reminds me, the last time I said that, someone suggested more pictures and footage of Buddy. So I do have a quick update for you. Buddy actually had a stroke and passed away early April. So he's gone over the Rainbow Bridge, and it wasn't easy. Was a very tough decision to make. It's been very different without him here, and I miss him a lot. But he would have been living in pain, and I didn't want that for him. So he's no longer with us. So that's kind of all the news that's fit to print about me and my place, and yeah, hang in there. If you also bought a fixer-upper, good luck. It's quite an uphill battle. Really did not imagine I was going to be rebuilding the entire house from the inside out, but that's where I find myself. So fun times. All right, take care.